Hi, this is Arun from Go Online Training. Welcome to SQL Server Basic Training Demo Session number 2. So, because we have one new participant, let me just close. I'll just briefly summarize what we had done in the previous class. So, in the previous class, I had talked about who is the audience for this training. So the audience for this training is, or are, I would say, audiences are people who are well versed with some data storage tool, like it can be Excel, or people who are completely new also is fine, but people who are looking to move to data. So we have seen that yesterday. So we have four important roles in any organization. So we have a data analyst, a data engineer, then we have a data, you can say scientist and AI engineer. So you have four roles where data is important. Now in Microsoft technology, SQL Server is the database engine. So if I have to get into any of the roles, and if I have no knowledge about any database engine, then I have to have this knowledge. So when you go to an interview for any of the role like data scientist, data engineer, data analyst, or AI engineer, the expectation is you know some database. And from the Microsoft side, you have a database technology or relational database management system, which is called SQL Server. So therefore, that is the target audience. Now, what is the objective for this target audience? Assumption is people are completely new to SQL Server or any other relational database management system. Target is to introduce the participants to SQL Server as a database management system and also some T-SQL features. So that is the objective. What is the entry profile? Entry profile, people are completely new to SQL Server. If you have basic knowledge on tools like Excel, it is good. So it is like a bonus point or an added point. The duration we said is 30 hours. And we also talked about the timing. So 5 days a week, Monday to Friday. And so in a month, we will be covering around 22 to 23 hours. Rest of the 6 hours will flow to another month. So you can say maximum 1.5 months will be the time. Now, the introduction to the databases is the initial topic. So we will look at what is the coverage quickly. We have done that yesterday, but I'm recollecting as we have not, two of them are new, Gautam and Ravi. So we'll be introducing to two different database systems like OLAP is one and OLTP is one. Then we will be introducing to the modeling concept, which is called ER modeling here. And we will also be talking about normalization, denormalization. So looking at the architecture of SQL Server. So initial few topics you see is mainly focused on designing a database. Then you have to implement the database, and to implement the database, we are looking at SQL Server. So we will see the logical architecture. What do I mean by logical architecture? What are the components of SQL Server? Okay, the logical components of SQL Server, what are they? Then we will be looking at the table design. Once we have seen how to create tables from the requirement given by the user. The user says, now I want to store the sales information. Every day people are coming to the sales counter and selling something. I want to keep that sales information. So where do I store that sales information? When asked, then you say table. Basically, you have to design the table for that. So you have to get the requirement, do the first 3 steps, rather the first 2 steps, ER modeling and the normalization, and then implement. So when you are implementing, how do we implement? That is covered in table design. So we cover what are the data types available, what do we mean by keys, how do we implement check constraint, etc. Then we have T-SQL basic and DML. Then that's the next topic. So once you have designed the table, you need to insert the data into the table. How do I do that? So you write code. To SQL, you give instructions. So this instructions is through the medium of code. And for code, you will be using the language which is called T-SQL. T here stands for transact. So to transact with the database, you require to use transact SQL language. And the T-SQL also has many uses. One of the uses to insert the data, update the data, and delete the data in your database. So therefore, those 3 operations, insert, update, delete, is called DML, data manipulation language. So that also will be done. So after you have inserted the data, the next step is to query. So we will be talking about how to retrieve the data. And retrieving the data, we will have SQL basics. So we will see how to write query and what are the different clauses, how to get the data in the raw form, how to make modifications and get data in aggregate form, etc. Then we will look at how to get data from more than one table using SQL joins. Then we will be looking at how to use subqueries, queries within a query. So make it a little more complex. So we can go a little more complex. So from simple queries, we will go to see writing complex queries. Like for example, I want to know the pattern of the data. I want to know what is the trend. All this information we want to cull out of the data which is stored in the database. So you have to write the queries, and we'll see how to do that. Then later we have other programming features available in SQL Server. Apart from just retrieving the data, we can do some basic processes we can execute. Like for example, I want to process an order. Then what all I need to do inside the table in SQL Server, all that you can do within a procedure. So we have something called stored procedure, which will implement a process. Then we have cursors and functions, which are features available in SQL Server. Like function, when you take Excel, you have sum is a function. Similarly, SQL Server has many functions. And I can create my own new functions also in SQL Server. So all that comes into picture. So cursors and functions will be covered. And lastly, we plan to cover triggers and views. So trigger is a mechanism for having certain business rules implemented. So triggers and views. So this is how we are planning for the basic. Apart from this, if you know SQL basic, whatever is the topic here, then after the SQL basic is over, we will be having SQL advanced if we have enough number of students. So people who are interested, if can wait for a month, after a month you will have the SQL advanced. Possibly if you have number of people, then we have the SQL advanced course. So this is what we are planning for the training. Now before I go further, I will just share a small link with you. This link is the student information link. So I will be passing it on in the chat window. Please do fill it. I would say please fill it. For this training, to attend this training, you can fill this information. 1 minute. So this is a demo session. So after the demo session, the actual training will start. So to attend the training, please do fill in this information. Okay. So we have one more person called Sandeep coming in. So the URL is this. So Sandeep, we have just completed the recap or recollection of what are the topics covered. So if you want to know a little more, please do refer to yesterday's demo session. and so you can go and check that. So this is the URL I have sent. Those who are interested for further or further information, those who want of this training, please do refer to this URL. I have sent this URL in the chat window. Refer to this URL, fill in the form, and Go Online Training. We at Go Online Training will get back to you and give you other details. So this is the form. Just give me 1 minute. It is just font has to be changed. So let me change the font. So yesterday we started off with the first topic. What is the first topic? The topic was what are the database systems? So we are started with the database systems. And we stated yesterday that there are two types of database systems broadly. So what are the two types of database system? The first type of database system is called OLTP, Online Transaction Processing System. And then the next type of system is called OLAP, Online Analytical Processing System. So whenever you have a business, the business initially takes the data in. That means it generates a lot of information. Like you're selling, you go to a particular shop or a store like Reliance Fresh, some supermarket. So you are going to the sales counter. You are buying some products and the information of that sales has to be entered into the system. Similarly, you are talking about bank. In the bank, every minute some transaction is happening. You go to the branch, you go to the ATM, you withdraw cash, you deposit, you want to do a lot of things. So every moment transactions are happening. Now, these transactions also information has to be entered. Where will I enter? Now you have UPI also. So it's very easy. Every moment you just have a browse, you browse and then you get, you browse, you get. So every moment you have some information in your hands. So how does that information get stored? There is a system of database called OLTP, Online Transaction Processing System. This is a database system and the purpose of the system is entry of transactional data in any business. So let's look at these applications. You have applications. Many applications are there. Take example of bank. You have ATM. That's one application. If you go to the branch, the clerk or the officer will be using a system, computer system, where you will have some application and you will be able to enter the data. So let's assume that you have the application and this application is entering the data. It can enter data in Excel. It can enter data in Notepad. It can enter data in a database system. How this is decided, the business will decide. Suppose I have enough money to enter to purchase a database, he will purchase a database. Okay. If I do not have enough money, he will have Excel. If I have very less money or budget for it, then Notepad. The application will do the work of entering the data. And let's assume this application is the sales application or the application which is present in the desk of an employee of a bank. So if it is banking system, then that is what it is. If it is the order processing system, this is what. You can take two different systems. In any system, there will be an application which will keep entering the data. And this application, because it is entering transactional data, it is called Online Transaction Processing System. Now, the application has the following characteristics. What are the characteristics? The application or the database system. One, it is more focused on insert, update and delete of data. It is more focused on that. Then it is normalized. Normalized in the sense there is a deduplication of data. I cannot store the same data twice. Like for example, if I have information about the customer, then I don't store the name of the customer in two places. If I need to store the information of price of a product, I don't store it in two places. I store it in only one place. Why? Because tomorrow if I have to update the price of the product or update the details of the customer, I can't keep updating in multiple places. So my need is I have to deduplicate the data. This is called normalization. Now, why deduplication is important for online transaction processing system? Because we are more interested in transaction, and transaction should take less time. I cannot keep the customer waiting in my sales counter forever. I can't say, okay, let him come, let it take a long time. So my system, database system should be as quick as possible. Therefore, I should ensure that it is having no duplication. So I need to update only in one place. Then different data formats are possible. Like one application can store in Excel, another application can store in Notepad database. So if I take Reliance Fresh example, take the example, you have one store in Bangalore, Hyderabad. You have another store somewhere in Mysore. You have another store which is there in some little remote village or some village. So all will not be using database because it's very costly. So the same Reliance store only, one store would be using Excel, another store would be using Notepad, another store you would be using database, depending on how much of volume of data is there in a given day. So therefore, you will have different formats, data coming from different formats. Even take, for example, election. Whenever election happens, the data is stored in the e-voting machine in the machine itself. So similarly, storage is done. Somewhere we have to store before we move the data to the final storage. So it is getting stored in Excel, Notepad, or some database. So there will be different formats. Then the data is frequently changing or getting updated, getting deleted. When products are not there anymore, you are not selling a product. I was selling a toothpaste. Now I am not selling the toothpaste anymore. It will get deleted. I should not have it. Otherwise, it gives wrong information. Similarly, update and insert also should be done. Like updating the price of the toothpaste, updating the telephone number of the customer, updating the email ID. So all those updates will happen. Similarly, inserting new customers, inserting new products, inserting new transactions, all of this come under insert. So they are frequently changing. The data is frequently changing. The data is in different formats. The data is not having duplication, deduplicated data, and it's a transactional system. So this is what it is. So ER modeling is there. This is a modeling that we use for such data. What do I mean by modeling? We will cover it in detail, but I will tell you in brief. It is a mechanism by which we get the data from the client. We come to understand how the data has to be stored, and we create a model of the data storage. And that model is called entity relationship model. It's a logical model. Like if you are creating a building, then if a person who wants to rent or buy a building, buy something there in the building, then that person, I have to specify or I have to give him a model. I have to tell this is how your flat will look. It is called model flat, or even a small cardboard model. This is how it will look. In fact, nowadays you go, they will even give you the entire view of how the complete building or the premise would look. So therefore, that is modeling. Modeling means giving a visual of how the data will be stored. That is modeling. Then what is the other nature of the data? The data which is of the transactional system will be dirty. Maybe. Why? Because human intervention is there. Human is entering the data. He can make some error. That error will be there, that possibility. There can be duplicate entries. You are entering the data by mistake. For some reason, it has entered twice. Whether you have entered twice or there is some error in the system, again you try entering. So there are two entries for the same transaction. Two entries are there, duplicate entries. This is called as OLTP system. This is how the nature of the system is. But every business will have also another system which is called OLAP system. Why? I enter the data into the OLTP system only for one reason. What is that reason for which I enter the data? I enter the data for analyzing the data in future. And why do I need to analyze the data in future? Because I need it for taking decisions for my business. That is why it is also called DSS, Decision Support System. So I need a decision support system. What I do is I move the data from the transactional system to the analytical system. It is called online analytical processing system. But if I have to move the data, I cannot move the data as it is. Why? Because the requirement of the OLAP or the analytical system is quite different. So what is the requirement? Let us see. So we said the transactional system, if you look at the system here, the transactional system is mainly going to do data in and minimum data out. So here my objective is you get some business, put the information about the business, put in. You are not worried about anything else. Your main concern is I get the data, that information should go to the system. Whereas in analytics, I am more interested in consolidating the data. I am more interested in predicting the purchasing. Example, if you say purchasing of a particular product, I want to predict. Based on the prediction, I will make some decisions. So either I summarize what has already happened or I predict future events based on the current data. Like if I come to know one whole year data I come to know most of the time the sales of certain products increase in Diwali. And I see the pattern that those products are sold every time there is a function or there is a festival. Then automatically there is a prediction. So next time I will know what type of products I need to keep for maximizing my sales. That is predictive analysis. So analysis are of two kinds. One is analyzing by consolidating the data, and second is analyzing by predicting. So here the analytical part, there is minimum input. Input is there, but minimum, and maximum data output for the purpose of decision making. So that is the nature of the OLAP system. Then in OLAP system, because you are more interested in retrieving the data for analysis, it is okay if there is duplicate data, because you are not doing any transaction here. You are only trying to analyze the data which is already in the system. So therefore, I don't require. Yes.
Hello. I have a
Yes,
question
sir.
here.
Yes.
So you mentioned the transactional database or can I consider it as the transactional database and the analytical database?
Yes.
So if I'm not wrong, you're mentioning the transactional database is nothing but like day-to-day transactions, which is coming in and going out.
Correct.
Okay. So while coming to analytics, is it kind of staging database where we do
Yes, it
the
is
analysis?
staging. Yes, it will be staging and data warehouse, both.
Okay, yeah. So it's a data where okay. So the data
Correct.
gets feed in from the transactional database, and that data warehouse we use for analytics. That's what you're
Correct.
trying to explain, yeah, right?
Absolutely. That is what we are trying to explain.
Okay,
Because we are
okay,
explaining it for a set of people, assuming people are completely new to data. So we are just seeing what are the two uses. In fact, when
okay,
we see the staging and the data warehouse, everything comes under this system, OLAP.
okay, yeah, got it.
So the data will, our objective here is to denormalize the data. What do I mean by denormalize? To remove duplicate, to keep duplicates or introduce duplicate. Why are we introducing duplicate? If the data is present in many places, when I want to retrieve the data, it will be fast. That is all. Otherwise, I have to go to 10 different tables to retrieve the same data. It will be slow. Why it is okay to have duplicate data here? Because there is no change in the data happening here. This is only going to analyze the existing data. Therefore, I can keep duplicates. Whereas here I can't afford duplicate data. Why? Because the changes are happening to existing data. I have a client, his phone number can change, his email ID can change. If I have a product, the price of the product can change. The quantity of the product in my inventory can change. So many things can change. Whereas here that change is not there. So therefore, it will be in duplicate format and it will be easier for me to retrieve the data. Okay. Now, don't we retrieve the data at all from transactional system? Answer is no, it's not so. We do retrieve data from transactional system, but the data will be very small. So therefore, it will be fast to retrieve. Like suppose I am the branch manager of one of the branches of a supermarket, say Reliance Fresh, or say you have many other supermarkets. So many names you forget. So Star Supermarket, Star Bazaar. So your Star Bazaar, that's one supermarket. Then in Bangalore, you have something more. So like that, you have many supermarkets. So in one of the branches, if I am the branch manager and I want to know today how much of sales did I do, then I don't need analytics. I simply want the transactional data to give me the information. So can I use the transactional system to give me information? Yes, but very less. Okay, it's only today's sales. The moment I say I want to find out what is the pattern of selling that has happened in the last 1 year, I have to go to analytics system. So even the transactional system will retrieve the data, but very basic data. Analytical system is used for retrieving high amount of data. And it's not only branches. Just imagine, we are not talking about branch only in one city. You will have branches all over India. Suppose it is a international business, then you will have branches even outside India, like Walmart. Walmart is there in the US mainly, and it has Indian branches also. So you will have all that. Star Bazaar and D Mart is there. So many supermarkets are there. So these are all the markets. So therefore, you can have formats. Denormalized form is there. Here, format is regularized. You will not find key in one of the branches I have Excel, in another branch I have Notepad, in another branch I use database. Is possible in transactional database. But in OLAP, all of them are in one standard format. It can be either a database or a notepad. It depends on what you want. Okay. Then analytics is interested more in more selection. Whereas you look at this transactional, it is more interested in changing the data. Selection means retrieving the data. This is changing the data. So modifying, retrieving. Then the UDM or the unified dimensional modeling is there. The unified dimensional modeling is used for what purpose? It is used like ER modeling. The only difference is this modeling is used for analytical database system. This modeling is used for relational transactional database system. Here the data has to be clean, because if the data is dirty, my analysis will be wrong. If my analysis is wrong, my decision will be wrong and my business will go for a toss. So therefore the data has to be clean. And I don't want any duplicate entry. See, this duplicate is different from this duplicate. What do I mean by no duplicate entry? Same transaction should not get entered twice by mistake. That is what I mean by duplicate entry. Okay, whereas here when I say duplicate data, suppose I have information about a customer. I can store the information in many places. That is duplication here. Here, the same transaction I should not enter twice. Same customer in the same table, I should not have two entries. So duplicate should not be there. So duplicate entries should not be there. Here, duplicate entries can be there, may be there. Sometimes there's a mistake. You know, a bill is made. After the bill is made, the customer says, I want to purchase something more. So you have to make modification to the bill. The bill is already there, added as a transaction in the database. What do? We can't delete it. So you have a duplicate entry. So this possibility is there. Okay. This is the system, the two systems which are there. Question now, how do I move data from OLTP system to OLAP system? So before we continue with this process, I'm just giving 1 minute break in between to remind that in the chat window, I have passed this URL. This is a URL of a student information form. We have demo session. This demo session will be over and a fresh session will start. So those who want to attend live sessions, details about the live sessions will be present or will be given to you by Go Online Training. And if you want them to contact you, you please fill this in student information form. Okay. So this I just wanted to remind before we proceed further. Now let's go on to our what we were discussing. So if I want to change from the OLTP system to OLAP system, now I want to change the data, then few things have to be modified. I can't take the same data as it is because the purpose is different. So what I have to do, so there are different possibilities. I may have to change the data format. Like here you have in Excel notepad database. Now let us assume in Karnataka itself, I have Bangalore. So Bangalore data is in a database. Some interior village like Madikere example, it's a very small village and you have say 100 footfalls in a day. So I store it in notepad. Then you have a small city like Mysore where I store in Excel. Now data is in Excel notepad database, but when I have to get to analytical system, I want to move everything into a data warehouse, which is a database. So therefore you have to change the data formats. Then you have to change the data types, because when you change data format in Excel, you have number or numeric. In SQL, you have integer. So you have to change the types. You have to remove duplicates because here duplicates are possible due to human error. Here duplicates are not allowed because it will reduce the accuracy of analysis. Then removing of dirty data. Then removing or introducing duplicates. So all these are different processes that has to be done while moving the data from the transactional system to the analytical system. And these are done by the ETL tool. So you have the ETL tool which does the process. Now what is this ETL tool called? So there are two ETL tools given by Microsoft. One is used on premise. That means within your company, you can create, you can have the tool, you can have a server which is doing the job of converting from OLTP to OLAP, moving the data from OLTP to OLAP, and it is called SSIS. If you want a cloud solution, then you have something called Azure Data Factory and Azure Data Bricks. They do the job of making modification to the data. What does ETL stand for? Extract data from the transactional system, then transform the data, make changes to the data. What are the changes? These are the possible changes. Make changes to the data, and after making the changes to the data, load the data into the analytical system. So extract, transform, load. And the analytical system will have a database containing the data for all years from the time your business started, because you have to analyze the data. And it also has some tools, like for example, Cube is a tool. Okay, it's called what we here call as UDM, Unified Dimensional Model. So you can use some models to see the same data and create reports. Reports can be created in OLTP as also. As I said, if the manager of the branch wants to know how much I have sold today, I can use the OLTP system and create reports. But when we want analytical reports, we use the OLAP system to create reports. So we have reporting tool as well. So you have Tableau, then Power BI is a reporting tool, then SSRS is a reporting tool. So there are many reporting tools given by Microsoft also. Analytical tools are given. Excel is another analytical tool. So you can use the OLAP database to analyze the data and report the data. You can use OLTP database to just report the data. If I want to report transactional data, I go to OLTP. If I want to retrieve analytical data, I go to OLAP. And this is the process. So I hope this portion is clear. If this portion is clear, we will just move to the next portion. Now in our current program, we will be studying SQL Server database system, and we will be using online transaction processing system, because first that is what is studied. How do I create a system and use the system for day-to-day transactions? And in that, how do I get information from the client and convert that information into set of tables in my database? So that is a process that we look at. And this process starts like this. The first step in the process is taking a look at the current system. Like maybe you're going to a bank is already having a database in place, or the bank may be manually making entry into the book. It is called bookkeeping, keeping books. So they entry into the book. So there can be any kind of system available. So what you do is you first decide a high level design. So you say, okay, this is the system now. Every branch in Reliance Fresh is entering data manually. Now I have to create a computer system, or already computer system is there, some modification has to be made. So you create a model of your modification or the current system. How is the current system? You want to understand. You create a model. Like a house is already there. You want to modify the house. So you first create a small cardboard model of the house. And then in the cardboard model, you have to make the changes. So first you have to create the cardboard model. So this is called as modeling. So you have a current physical system, already a system is in place, and you want to model or you want to represent that system logically using modeling technique. If you are using OLTP system, it is ER model. Otherwise, it's called dimension model. We are using OLTP, so ER model. We will look into detail of what is ER model, etc. Then after you have the model in place, what you are getting is the current logical system. Like you have a model, a cardboard model of the current house. Then what you do, you go to the next step. You design. Design means what? You remove, like you have a cardboard house. Now you say, okay, the toilet is here right now. I don't want the toilet here. According to Vastu, I want the toilet in some other place. So, or according to my convenience, I want the toilet in some other place. So you have to modify, but you can't directly modify in the building. You change in the model and you show the customer how it looks. So therefore, from the current logical system, which is nothing but the model, you are going to design and create a proposed logical system, which will also be a model. And then that will be a set of tables. And you will say, okay, this table I don't want, this column is not required, etc., etc. All that you will say, and that is your proposed logical system. Why it is not physical? Because you have not yet implemented the same. And to implement the system, you have what is called as proposed physical system. Okay, that means what you do here, you convert all that model into a sample house. And you say, this is how the house will look. And it is a temporary house. You don't make foundation and all, just a temporary house. Person can go and see the house. This is how it will look. And this is how the physical system will be. This is how the drainage will be. This is how the sewage will be, etc. And this proposed physical system has to be implemented in a database. So we will have to create a database. using the database management system. So these are the set of steps. For converting from current physical system to current logical system, you require modeling and you require the role of a modeler. For converting from the current logical system into proposed, you require the designer. He is called as design is the step. Designer is the role. And to convert from proposed logical to proposed physical, you require implementation. And this implementation is done by the developer. So these are the roles, the modeler, the designer, and the developer. And once the developer has created, the table is ready, you will see a system like this. You will have databases and you will have tables inside. So this is how the changes happen. These are the steps. Initially itself, you don't take a database, start creating one table, two table, three. No, you have to go through these steps. So user will give you a requirement. From the requirement, you should generate the table, databases, etc. These are the steps involved in creating a OLTP system. So if any question, let me know. So with this, today we will stop the demo session. The next session we will have mostly is a session directly. So the session will start. The demo session is over, I think. If there are more demo sessions, we will keep you informed. But those of you who are interested in joining this course, please, as I said, it is there in the chat window. It's also there here. This URL, which is placed in the chat window, go to the chat window and enter into so that you can get the detail. So here it is, here the chat windows. So any questions you have before we close this session, please let me know. We will close the session after the questions. Any question?
Do you have any advanced SQL session starting soon?
Yes. So what we are planning, Ravi, is this. After the basic session is over, logically people who have attended the basic session will want an advanced session. So we will plan an advanced session after this basic session. But currently, if we have some more people who are interested in advanced session, we will have. So maybe you can request, you can sign this form. You can request Go Online Training that you want an advanced session. When it happens, mostly it will happen the next month. But we don't know whether the course will be there because it depends on the number of participants. We want minimum some 5 participants to 6 participants. If we have 5 or 6, we can start a batch. So it will happen soon. In the sense, next month it is proposed.
Do you have any earlier sessions before 9:30?
Earlier session which has already been taken.
I mean, like timings.
Earlier timings.
Yeah.
For the same basic course?
No, the advanced.
The advanced, no. Right now we are not having any batch running for advanced. We are actually completing a basic batch. Every time we do one basic, one advanced, but last time we didn't have any takers for advanced. So there is no course going on.
Okay, so like, I mean, like I'm looking something like in earlier timings around 8 IST or 7:30 IST.
Okay, we can check right now for the next 20 days or rather maybe 1 month. It's difficult because I'm already having one batch running from 8:15 to 9:15. That is the previous basic batch which is running. But after that we can have advanced. But as I said, we need at least 5 students, minimum 5 students. If we have, it makes a little, it would be better. And in advanced, we will be covering a lot of things like window functions, partitions, optimization of query, more advanced T-SQL features, etc.
Yeah, I'm good now. I
Yes,
was.
you can submit your information in the URL. So when
Yeah.
Go Online Training gets back to you, you can specify that you want an advanced training. They'll keep a track, and a batch will be formed soon. Even if you are able to help get more students also, we can start immediately also. So that is the requirement.
Okay. Yeah, I just submitted my info.
Sandeep, yes, any questions, Sandeep? Subhan and Tulasi.
No, sir, I don't have any questions, sir.
And
My
Sandeep?
side, no questions, sir.
Okay. Tulasi?
My side, no questions.
Okay. So there are no questions. People who want to attend the basic course also, please fill this form. They will get back to you. You can then get the information of the batch going to start. People who want advanced also, but should know the basic. Important thing is people who want advanced training should know all that we are covering in the basic. Only then you are eligible for advanced training. And so those who want advanced training also, the information you can, whichever batch has 5 students minimum, we can start. So advanced batch is there, we can start advanced batch. Basic batch is there, we can start the basic batch. Okay. Of course, the costing for basic and advanced is different. The details will be given to you by Go Online Training.
So how do we know like what courses you guys offer? Do
Okay, if
have
you go to online training, you will come to know what courses are being offered. For now, I can tell you the courses we offer usually are courses like ADF, ADB, Azure Factory, Azure Databricks. Then we have Power BI course is there. Then we have a course on Python. Then we have SQL Server Basic, SQL Server Advanced, MSBI. These are the courses. All of them are related to data only. So these are the courses we are offering. Python also is related to AI and data. So, and we offer snowflakes. So these are the courses. More details, you go to Go Online Training, go to Google, search for Go Online Training, you will get to know what other courses are being planned.
Oh, okay. Okay. I do see like there are active batches start. Okay, got it. Yeah.
Yeah, they will also tell you for which subjects active batches have started. So some of them will be in demo stage. Like now this session is in demo stage. Once we get a group of 5 students, a batch will start.
Okay, these are all demo sessions, like whatever mentioned on the
Yeah,
Go Online.
these are all
Go
demo
online
sessions.
things. Oh, okay, okay. Not actual start dates for the sessions.
We will continue. So what we do is say the session is for 30 hours. So first 2 hours will be demo. That means the session will go on as usual, but people will take it as a demo. Anybody can attend it. Based on whatever you have attended, you take a decision whether you want to continue or not. So once you take a decision, then you talk to Go Online Training. They will tell you what is the fees, etc. And then you can continue to attend the sessions. That is how it is.
I was looking for the MuleSoft training. I saw somewhere on, I think in Instagram or somewhere.
Which training?
The MuleSoft.
MuleSoft, I don't think, just check whether it is available right now, current batch, any batch is going on. You have to go to goonlinetraining.com and see.
No, I don't
If
see
it is,
anything, but
okay,
somewhere
if
I
it is,
saw in YouTube or
okay.
Instagram saying that the
If it's
MuleSoft
not
training is.
seen, then you, when Go Online Training contacts you, you ask them, they will tell you.
Okay, okay, got it. Understood. Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
Yes. So any more questions? Okay. So if there are no questions, we will end the demo session. So we will, based on the batch, we will continue with the other sessions. Information will be given to all of you.
Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Okay.
Thank you, Ravi. Thank you, Subhan. Thank you, Tulasi.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, bye.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.